Is this puppy magical? But this looks more like a tail right between his eyes.
Most animals follow nature's script, but sometimes that script gets flipped. Think creatures with extra faces, limbs in the wrong places, and hybrids that shouldn't even exist. These are the real-life anomalies that seem ripped from another dimension. They're bizarre, mysterious, and absolutely real. Stick around as we dive into the rarest animals that look like they belong to another world. Number 20. Manny the five-legged cow. You ever seen a cow with a leg growing out of its head? No? Well, meet Manny, a one-year-old steer with a fifth leg sprouting from his skull like something out of a science fiction movie. Manny was born with a rare congenital condition called cephalomelia, where a parasitic twin's limb develops on the surviving calf. In Manny's case, it's a fully formed front leg, hoof and all, dangling from the top of his head. He was rescued from a livestock auction in early 2024 by Uncle Neil's Home, an animal sanctuary based in New Jersey. At the time, he was headed for slaughter, but his freakish appearance made rescuers take a second look. Instead of becoming a footnote in the meat industry, he became a viral sensation. Veterinarians have examined Manny and confirmed that the extra limb doesn't cause him pain. It doesn't move, it just hangs there, lifeless but very real. The rest of his body functions completely normally. Manny now lives peacefully at the sanctuary, where he's become a favorite among visitors and followers online. Number 19. Mountain lion with teeth growing on its head. When wildlife officers in Preston, Idaho, responded to a call in December 2015 about a mountain lion behaving strangely near a residential area, they expected a routine case. What they found instead defied explanation. The young male cougar, legally hunted and killed due to threats to livestock, had something bizarre growing out of its forehead, fully formed teeth and a patch of thick whiskered fur. This was no optical illusion. Idaho Fish and Game confirmed the lion had an actual set of teeth, molar and canine, embedded in a protrusion on its head, just above the eyes. It looked like a surreal fusion between two animals, or as if something was trying to grow out from within. Wildlife biologists believe it was likely a teratoma, a rare type of tumor that can contain hair, teeth, and sometimes even eyes or more complex structures. Teratomas develop from germ cells and can appear almost anywhere in the body, though finding one on a mountain lion's head is virtually unheard of. Another theory suggests it could be a case of a conjoined twin that didn't fully develop and was absorbed into the surviving fetus, leaving remnants in the form of facial tissue and teeth. Either way, the case stunned scientists and became one of the most visually disturbing examples of developmental anomalies ever documented in a wild animal. Number 18. Pig born with a penis on its head. There are strange animals. And then there's this. In 2015, something straight out of a science fiction nightmare was born on a farm in Yan'an Township, near Nanning in southern China. A piglet emerged into the world unlike anything locals had ever seen before. It had a disturbingly human-like face, and a penis growing directly from its forehead. The piglet was one of 19 born in a single litter. All the others looked completely normal, except for this one. Tao Lu, the 40-year-old farmer who owned the sow, couldn't believe what he was seeing. News of the bizarre piglet spread like wildfire, and neighbors rushed to his property, hoping to catch a glimpse of the so-called mutant. Photos published by a local newspaper quickly went viral, and soon, Tao was flooded with phone calls from people offering large sums of money just to buy the animal. One man, 32-year-old Wu Kung, said he was among a dozen locals who saw it in person, and confirmed that yes, the piglet really did have a penis on its forehead, and a face uncannily similar to a human's. Sadly, the piglet didn't live long. After being rejected by its mother and refusing to drink from a bottle, it died not long after birth. Tao had hoped to keep the animal alive and put it on display, but instead was left with only the photos, and a story that shocked the world. Number 17. Dog with a tail on its forehead. Some animals are born to stand out, but narwhal took it to a whole new level. In November 2019, a 10-week-old golden retriever mix was found wandering the freezing streets of rural Missouri. But what made this rescue pup go viral? He had an extra tail growing directly out of his forehead. Yes, an actual tail. About 3 inches long, completely covered in fur, and positioned perfectly between his eyes like a soft, wiggly unicorn horn. That's why rescuers at Max Mission, the nonprofit that took him in, nicknamed him Narwhal the Little Magical Furry Unicorn. A vet examination confirmed the forehead tail had no bones and wasn't connected to anything vital. It didn't wag or move, but it also caused zero pain or medical issues. Removing it wasn't necessary, and leaving it in place made Narwhal even more lovable. Max Mission specializes in helping dogs with deformities, and Narwhal became their poster pup overnight. His story attracted millions online, with adoption requests coming from all over the world. But the rescue team decided to keep him as their permanent mascot. Number 16. Three-headed frog. You'd expect a three-headed creature to come from a science fiction movie or a nightmare. But in 2004, it showed up in a school garden in Somerset, England. Not in myth, not in legend. A real, living, three-headed frog. Children at the Green Umbrella Nursery were about to release froglets into a pond when they noticed something bizarre. A tiny amphibian with 3 fully formed heads and 6 legs. This wasn't just a freak of nature, it was walking, moving, and alive. Scientists believe this strange case may have been caused by pollution or parasites during the tadpole's development. The heads shared a body, but each seemed to function independently. That means 3 brains trying to control one tiny torso, an anatomical mess that somehow worked. Unfortunately, the frog mysteriously vanished overnight from the nursery's pond, leading some to speculate it may have been eaten or taken by someone who realized how rare it was. To this day, no one really knows. Cases like this are incredibly rare. Triple-headed vertebrates are virtually unheard of in nature, and yet, for a brief moment, a frog that looked like it belonged on another planet hopped through a garden in England, and proved that the real world can be even weirder than fiction. Number 15. Snake with legs. In a quiet village in southwest China, something crawled straight out of a nightmare. In September of 2009, a woman named Duan Qiangshu from Suining, Sichuan province, was jolted awake by strange scratching sounds coming from her bedroom wall. When she turned on the light, she saw a snake slithering vertically up the wall. The creature was around 16 inches long and a pale grayish white. Duan, terrified, grabbed a shoe and beat the snake to death. What she discovered next left even scientists stunned. Protruding from the snake's lower body was a single leg, complete with 3 tiny claws, eerily resembling a lizard's. She then preserved its body in a bottle of alcohol, ensuring it could be examined further. Experts from the West China Normal University later examined the specimen. Herpetologist Long Shuai confirmed that it was indeed a mutant snake, likely a species of Elaphe tenuura, also known as the beauty rat snake. The presence of the leg suggested an atavistic trait, a genetic throwback to when snakes still had limbs. This bizarre incident gave scientists a rare look at evolution in reverse. Snakes evolved from lizards millions of years ago, gradually losing their legs. But sometimes those ancient genes don't stay silent. This clawed snake was living proof. Although the specimen later went missing, sparking conspiracy theories, its brief appearance still challenges our understanding of evolution. Number 14. Cyclops goat. When a goat is born with a single eye in the center of its forehead, you don't just glance and move on, you stare, stunned. In May 2017, in a remote village in Assam, India, a baby goat made headlines around the world after it was born with a condition known as cyclopia. It had only one eye where its forehead should have been, no properly formed nose, and a severely underdeveloped jaw. Its tongue constantly hung out of its mouth, and it had only one ear. Cyclopia is an extremely rare congenital defect caused when the embryonic forebrain fails to divide into two separate hemispheres. The result is a single central eye and fused facial features. The condition is almost always fatal, with most animals dying before or shortly after birth. But this goat survived, at least for a little while. Local villagers believed the goat was a divine miracle, with some even worshipping it. Videos and photos quickly went viral, drawing international curiosity and sparking debates about science versus superstition. Veterinarians confirmed that the goat's condition was consistent with known cases of cyclopia. The eye did not function normally, and the animal's chances of survival were extremely limited due to feeding difficulties and neurological issues. As expected, the goat lived only a few days. Number 13. Fish with two mouths. You know something strange when your fish looks like it could bite you twice at the same time. That's exactly what happened in August 2019 when Debbie Geddes caught a lake trout in Lake Champlain, on the border between New York and Vermont. But this wasn't an ordinary catch. It had two fully formed mouths. Photos of the bizarre fish exploded online after they were shared by Naughty Boys Fishing, the crew Debbie was fishing with. Both mouths were functional, stacked vertically, and appeared to share the same lower jaw. One theory suggested that the deformity may have resulted from a previous injury, possibly from being hooked and released, that healed abnormally, forming a second gaping mouth. Others believed it could be a developmental mutation triggered by pollutants in the lake. Experts from the New York Department of Environmental Conservation weighed in, stating that although rare, such deformities are not unheard of. What makes this case so unusual is how well the fish had survived. Despite the double jaws, it was healthy, well-fed, and measured about 26 inches long. Lake Champlain has long been surrounded by folklore, including tales of Champ, the region's own version of the Loch Ness Monster. But this double-mouthed trout was no legend. It was real, and it left even seasoned anglers scratching their heads. Number 12. Two-headed calf. You've probably heard the saying, "Two heads are better than one," but no one meant it literally. Yet, that's exactly what stunned farmers in Edmonson County, Kentucky in October 2024, when a calf was born with not one, but two fully formed heads. This farmer couldn't stop screaming when he noticed what his cow gave birth to. Each had its own set of eyes, nose, and mouth, positioned side by side, sharing a single neck and body. This rare condition, called dicephalic parapagus, is an extreme form of polycephaly. It happens when an embryo begins to split into twins but stops halfway through. In animals, especially livestock, this is exceedingly rare, occurring in only about 1 in 400,000 births. The calf's unexpected arrival drew attention from veterinarians and geneticists alike. Sadly, as is common with such severe deformities, the calf only survived for a few hours. Still, those few hours were enough to captivate local residents and raise serious questions about the genetic or environmental causes. Photos of the calf quickly went viral, showing a creature that seemed more myth than reality. Number 11. Winged cat. A cat growing wings might sound like folklore, but in China, it actually happened. In 2008, in China's Sichuan province, a 1-year-old tomcat named Tom developed wing-like appendages measuring approximately 4 inches in length. These wings appeared to sprout rapidly during a particularly hot spell, coinciding with an influx of female cats vying for his attention. His owner, Feng, noted, "At first they were just 2 bumps, but they started to grow quickly." While these furry protrusions might suggest a mystical transformation, experts offer more grounded explanations. One possibility is feline cutaneous asthenia, a condition where the skin becomes unusually elastic and fragile, leading to wing-like flaps. Alternatively, poor grooming in long-haired cats can result in matted fur that forms wing-like structures. In Tom's case, the appendages contained bone, adding another layer of intrigue. Despite their appearance, these wings don't grant the ability to fly. Tom continued his daily feline activities, seemingly unbothered by his newfound appendages. His story captivated locals and media alike, highlighting the wonders and mysteries that nature occasionally presents. Number 10. Two-faced cat. You're not seeing double. This cat really did have two faces. And he didn't just survive against all odds, he made history. Born in 1999 in Worcester, Massachusetts, Franken Louis was no ordinary feline. He was a Janus cat, a term used for animals born with two faces due to a rare congenital condition called diprosopus. It causes parts of the head, and sometimes the entire face, to duplicate. Most animals with this condition die within hours. But Franken Louis? He lived for 15 incredible years. He had 2 noses, 2 mouths, and 3 eyes, but only 1 brain and 1 working mouth. The center eye never blinked and didn't respond to light, which gave him a hauntingly mythical look, almost like a living statue. He was born at the Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine at Tufts University, where a veterinary nurse named Marty Stevens took him home, expecting to care for him only briefly. Instead, he kept thriving. Franken Louis was tube-fed for the first 3 months. Then, astonishingly, he learned to eat on his own. By the time he was 12 years old, he was officially recognized by Guinness World Records as the longest-living Janus cat ever recorded. He wasn't just a medical anomaly, he became a beloved pet, known for his gentle personality and calm demeanor. When he passed away in 2014, it wasn't from his condition, it was cancer. Number 9. The long-eared goat. In the bustling city of Karachi, Pakistan, a young goat named Simba captured the world's attention with his extraordinary ears. Born on June 4, 2022, Simba's ears measured approximately 19 inches at birth and continued to grow, reaching an astonishing 22 inches. Simba's owner, Mohammed Hassan Narejo, was astounded by the kid's unique feature. Recognizing its rarity, Narejo contacted Guinness World Records to establish a category for the longest-eared goat, as none existed at the time. The length of Simba's ears posed challenges. To prevent injury and facilitate movement, Narejo designed a velvet harness to hold the ears, ensuring Simba could walk and play without stepping on them. Simba's fame spread rapidly. Within weeks, he appeared on national and international media, participated in beauty contests, and attracted offers from buyers in Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Bahrain. Despite lucrative proposals, Narejo declined to sell, expressing a deep emotional bond with Simba. To protect Simba from potential harm, Narejo employed traditional practices, including reciting Quranic verses and tying a black thread around Simba's neck to ward off the evil eye. Tragically, Simba's life was brief. On April 11, 2023, after a sudden stomach illness, Simba passed away at just over 10 months old. Shortly before his death, Simba's mother gave birth to a female kid named Simbi, who also possesses notably long ears, measuring approximately 18 inches. Narejo hopes Simbi will continue her brother's legacy and plans to apply for a world record on her behalf. Number 8. Zonkey. Not every day does nature blur the lines between two species, especially with stripes and hooves. But in 2020, something truly rare trotted onto a wildlife sanctuary in Kenya, a baby zonkey. That's right, a hybrid born from a zebra and a donkey. This rare animal was discovered at the Chiulu Hills National Park, within the care of the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. Rangers first noticed an unusual foal beside a female zebra they had rescued from the wild months earlier. But something about this baby was off. While its body resembled a donkey, its legs were marked with distinct black and white zebra stripes. A closer look confirmed it. It was a zonkey. Zonkeys are extremely rare because zebras and donkeys have different numbers of chromosomes. Zebras have 44 and donkeys have 62. That makes natural breeding between the two species unlikely, and if it happens, the offspring is typically sterile. But this pairing had occurred naturally, after the rescued zebra wandered out of the sanctuary briefly and apparently mingled with local donkeys. The baby zonkey instantly became a sensation. It combined the strong, stocky build of a donkey with the iconic striping of a zebra. Though it won't be able to reproduce, it is otherwise healthy and thriving under close care. Number 7. Snowflake the albino gorilla. He didn't look real. With pink skin, ghost white fur, and piercing blue eyes, he looked like something straight out of a fantasy novel. But Snowflake was very real. Born in the wilds of Equatorial Guinea, this western lowland gorilla became the only known albino gorilla in recorded history. He was captured in 1966 by a farmer named Benito Magnier after Snowflake's entire troop was killed. The young gorilla, estimated to be just 2 years old, was handed over to primatologist Jordi Sabater Pai and eventually brought to Barcelona Zoo, where he would live the rest of his life and become a global sensation. Snowflake wasn't just rare because of his albinism. He had a unique genetic mutation, a recessive gene inherited from both parents, who, scientists later confirmed through DNA analysis, were likely closely related, possibly uncle and niece. This rare gene caused not only his colorless fur and pinkish skin, but also vision problems like photophobia, which made him extremely sensitive to light. Despite these challenges, Snowflake lived an extraordinary life. Over the years, he fathered 22 offspring, though none inherited his albinism. His fame turned him into a symbol of conservation, drawing millions of visitors and international media. He even featured in documentaries, comics, and ads. Sadly, in 2003, at the age of 39, he was euthanized after being diagnosed with an aggressive form of skin cancer, likely caused by prolonged exposure to UV rays, a common risk for albino animals. Number 6. The eight-legged goat. Not all aliens come from outer space. Some are born on farms. In 2014, on a farm in Kutjevo, a small town in Croatia, a goat gave birth to a kid that looked like it stepped out of a sci-fi lab. It had 8 legs. Yes, you heard that right. 8 fully visible legs, like a spider wearing a goat costume. As if this wasn't weird enough, the goat possessed 2 fully formed genitals and showed signs of being both male and female. Farmer Zoran Paparik said he couldn't believe his eyes when the goat delivered a kid with 4 extra limbs dangling from its chest and abdomen. Weighing just under 4 kilograms, the goat appeared to be otherwise healthy and lively. Paparik stated that he counted its legs and thought he was seeing things. Then he called his neighbor to make sure he wasn't crazy. Veterinarian Dr. Zelko Vukasinovic examined the animal and confirmed that the extra limbs were likely the remains of a conjoined twin that had failed to separate properly during gestation, a phenomenon known as parasitic twinning. Internally, the goat had only 1 heart and 1 set of lungs, which increased its chances of surviving the critical first few days. Despite being born with both male and female organs, the goat was primarily identified as male. While the odds were heavily stacked against survival, the octogoat surprised everyone. It nursed normally and even stood on its own shortly after birth. Number 5. Pig without back legs. In the heart of Colorado, a remarkable piglet named Miracle defied all odds. Born on August 31st, 2016, at Colorado Cutie Pigs, Miracle entered the world without functional hind legs. Despite this challenge, Miracle displayed an indomitable spirit. Within minutes of birth, he adapted by balancing on his front legs, maneuvering around the farm with surprising agility. His breeder, Ari Smith, observed that the piglet didn't know anything was wrong with him. It just thought it was normal. Typically, mother pigs might reject offspring with disabilities, but Miracle's mother, Babe, nurtured him alongside his 5 siblings. This acceptance allowed Miracle to thrive, gaining weight and energy comparable to his littermates. Understanding the potential strain on Miracle's front limbs, Smith sought assistance. HandicappedPets.com stepped in, providing a custom-fitted wheelchair to support his mobility and ensure his long-term health. Miracle's story touched many hearts, leading to a search for a forever home equipped to cater to his unique needs. Number 4. Croc-buffalo. In a quiet village in rural Thailand, something utterly bizarre happened in the year 2015, something that looked like it came straight out of a legend. A newborn animal, later nicknamed the Croc-buffalo, left both locals and experts completely stunned. At first glance, it had the body, hooves, and limbs of a typical buffalo, but its skin told a different story, dry, rough, and scaly like that of a crocodile. Even more shocking, its head was flat and reptilian, eerily resembling an alligator rather than anything mammalian. The mother buffalo had previously given birth to healthy, completely normal calves, which made this strange birth even harder to explain. Sadly, the creature didn't live long, but its short life was enough to ignite a storm of fascination and speculation. In the village, some believed the croc-buffalo was a sign, either a powerful omen or a stroke of unexpected luck. Others turned to science, proposing that the unusual appearance could have been caused by a rare skin disorder that developed during pregnancy, possibly tied to genetic or environmental factors. Number 3. Spotted zebra. When tourists in Kenya's Masai Mara spotted a newborn zebra covered in white polka dots instead of stripes, they thought their cameras were glitching. But it was no trick. This was a real-life zebra born with spots instead of the iconic black and white stripes. The foal was first seen in September 2019 and quickly named Tira after the Maasai guide who discovered it. Unlike the typical pattern of vertical stripes, Tira's coat was dark brown with white polka dots and short, broken streaks across its body, a condition called pseudomelanism. This rare genetic mutation alters pigment distribution, disrupting the formation of stripes. Experts confirmed this was the first time such a zebra had ever been documented in the Masai Mara. Normally, zebra stripes serve both as camouflage and a deterrent for biting flies. Researchers speculated that Tira's unique pattern might affect its survival, especially by making it more visible to predators or more susceptible to insects. Despite these concerns, Tira appeared healthy and behaved just like any other young zebra, running with the herd and staying close to its mother. The photos went viral, turning Tira into a global sensation and drawing attention to the fascinating world of animal coat mutations. Tira isn't just a one-in-a-million zebra, it's a living piece of evolutionary artistry. Number 2. Pearl the Leucistic penguin. Imagine strolling along a serene Australian beach and encountering a penguin as white as freshly fallen snow. Meet Pearl, a rare leucistic little penguin discovered on March 30th, 2025, at Hayborough Beach in South Australia. Unlike her typical blue and white counterparts, Pearl's all-white plumage results from leucism, a genetic condition causing partial loss of pigmentation. This differs from albinism. While albino animals lack all melanin and often have red or pink eyes, leucistic creatures like Pearl retain normal eye coloration. At the time of her rescue by the Wildlife Welfare Organization in Gulwa, Pearl was in a fragile state, weighing less than 1 kilogram and suffering from dehydration. Dedicated caretakers provided a specialized diet and medication to address potential respiratory issues. Pearl's unique appearance presents survival challenges. Her white feathers make her more visible to predators, and her uncommon look might affect social interactions with other penguins. Leucistic penguins are exceptionally rare. Dr. Diane Colombelli-Negrel, a researcher with over a decade of experience studying little penguins in South Australia, noted that Pearl is the first leucistic individual she has encountered. Number 1. Dog with own image on ear. A dog with a selfie on its ear? Sounds like Photoshop, until you meet Lucy. In 2017, at just 6 weeks old, Lucy was rescued along with her litter and brought to Lollipop Farm, an animal shelter in Fairport, New York. She looked like an ordinary black and white puppy, until someone noticed something extraordinary. On her left ear was a perfectly shaped marking of another puppy, head, ears and all, etched in fur. It wasn't a smudge or random patch. The marking was so precise that it looked like a printed icon of Lucy herself. Her adopters, Cassidy and Zach, hadn't even noticed it until a stranger pointed it out while they were buying dog food. They couldn't believe their dog had her own face on her ear. The story went viral after Lollipop Farm posted a photo of Lucy on their Facebook page. The resemblance was so uncanny, it sparked global interest. Animal pattern specialists explained it as a coincidental fur pigmentation anomaly, extremely rare but naturally occurring. Lucy's marking has no health implications, and it doesn't change or fade over time. She's just a normal, playful dog with what looks like a miniature twin printed on her ear. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.